The United States began with a refusal to be ruled by a crown. The architects of this system used a deliberate design to ensure no single person could ever wield the absolute authority of a monarch. Today, that same refusal is being shouted in the streets. Thousands of Americans are marching under a specific historical banner: No Kings. For those in the crowd who immigrated from Germany, the current political climate brings back chilling echoes of the 1930s. They see a pattern of people failing to stand up until it is too late, and they are here to ensure history doesn't repeat itself. That urgency is fueled by a sense of rapid decay. Protesters describe watching public health, failing scientific standards, and democratic institutions dismantled, with a speed that suggests a country is being stripped away from its people. There is a growing belief in these crowds that the traditional avenues of civic duty, like the voting booth, are moving too slowly to catch up. They feel the destruction of their institutions is happening in real time, leaving them no choice but to show up in person. When citizens feel the structural safeguards of their republic have completely failed, physical protest stops being an option and becomes a necessity. It is their only perceived recourse against power that no longer answers to the law. The immediate target of this movement is a singular figure: Donald Trump and his administration. Protesters claim the executive is operating as if he possesses divine sanction, bypassing normal political constraints and acting with total impunity. They believe he acts as if he is wholly and entirely above the law. This chart shows the material cost of that perceived impunity. While billionaire tax cuts accelerated wealth accumulation for the top 1%, the median income for regular Americans remained entirely flat. As the top-line numbers for the wealthy grew, the chart shows a corresponding sharp downward trend in healthcare access. Millions were kicked off their healthcare to fund those tax cuts at the top. This high-level policy translates to daily survival. People are suddenly facing the reality of rising gas prices and grocery bills they can no longer pay, creating a sense of desperation that the government is no longer working for them. The perception of a king is rooted in this top-down extraction. It is defined by policies that enrich the powerful while taking basic necessities away from regular Americans. An overreaching executive cannot act alone. The crowds are also directing their anger at the institution designed to halt this overreach: the United States Congress. There is a sense in the streets that the boundary between the two major parties has dissolved. Protesters argue that the traditional competition for power has collapsed into a single political machine that no longer serves the public. On one side, they see a Republican Party that has entirely abdicated their duty to provide oversight, choosing instead to allow the executive to do whatever he wants, as if he were above the law. On the other side, there is a deep disappointment with the Democratic Party that is failing to act as a meaningful opposition, leaving the executive's power completely unchecked. This total failure of legislative oversight creates a dangerous vacuum. Without a functional Congress to act as a brake, the crowd fears the executive is free to pursue unilateral war and allow domestic infrastructure to crumble without any consequence. Authoritarianism is a team effort. It requires a leader willing to seize power and a legislature willing to step aside and let it happen. This dynamic has created a generation of politically orphaned voters. They are marching because they realize that neither major party is willing to protect the system they were elected to serve. When the institutions inside these buildings fail to function, the responsibility of defending the country's foundation shifts directly to the people standing outside them. At these rallies, you hear a common oath: a personal commitment to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, with their own lives if necessary. This movement is a measure of institutional fragility. It exposes how quickly the perceived stability of a republic can evaporate when its citizens lose faith in every branch of their government. A constitutional republic is only as strong as the people's willingness to enforce it. When the paper checks and balances stop working, the system relies entirely on the physical vigilance of the populace. Grassroots protest is the final mechanism of a failing system. It is the built-in emergency brake used by the people to prevent the rise of a king.